I think after the stand mixer, the food processor is my second favorite tool in the kitchen. Today, we're going to do a product test and review of the 14-cup Magimix Food Processor. I got this food processor on a discount at the Williams-Sonoma outlet store, and I've been wanting to test this thing out, and it's finally time. We are going to be chopping, shredding, and slicing to see what this baby can do. So join me as we do a product test and review of the Magimix 14-cup food processor. So we're going to judge this food processor on the same categories that we judged all the other ones. I'll put a link up in the description, up here and down in the description to some of my other food processor tests. So we're going to be looking at the overall look and feel. That's the fit, the finish, and the stuff that comes with the food processor. We are going to chop parsley in the mini bowl. We're going to chop onions. We're going to slice tomatoes and potatoes. And we're going to shred some cheese. So let's get to the overall look and feel. So a lot of you might not be familiar with the Magimix brand. This is actually made by Robot Coupe. And Robot Coupe is pretty much the originator of the food processor. It's mainly used in commercial settings. So you will see these things that are huge that can process tons and tons of material for a restaurant. The Magimix is the home version of the Robot Coupe, so it's sort of scaled down for the home cook, but it's really powerful. It has over 900 watts. It's a DC motor, so it's nice and quiet, and it comes with a lot of things. So this one here is a 14-cup food processor, and it has your classic stop, auto, and pulse buttons on the front. So pulse would be, it's just on when you hit it. Auto is continuous. It has an interlock. So when you put it on auto, it will only run when this is completely down. That's a safety feature because it has a wide feed here. So you have a large feed tube and a small pusher. So you have a smaller area in which to put your ingredients so they're more steady. There's measurements on this small pusher. So if you're making a mayonnaise or something like that and you need to measure your oil, it will tell you the number of ounces here, so you could actually measure and pour it in so you could drip it in slowly. It does not have a hole in the bottom for that. Some of the choppers do. So you have a small bowl, which is your small chopping bowl with a small chopping blade. You have a mid-size bowl that only works with the shredders and the slicers. So with the disc, blades, and the post. You can't use the chopping disc down here. This is just for the discs. Then you have your main bowl. This is 14 cups. One of the things when I first used this was I put it together, and I don't know why I thought the lid would go on this way, but it actually goes on this way. So when I was adjusting it, I kept putting it this way and it wouldn't lock, so it locks in this way. It also comes with this sort of blade used for really blending soups and stuff, and you put it in there like this. This is not a blade. It's only used when you want to puree soups and stuff. It sits here, and I think it keeps the ingredients moving, basically, is what that does. This is kind of unique. I've never seen that on a food processor. So you have a full selection of blades. It comes with this holder. You have your post. You have your main chopping blade. I'm doing this backwards. So we have an egg whip for making meringues and stuff. We have a dough blade in here. Pretty standard. And it comes with 4 blades. So these blades are not adjustable like on the KitchenAid and the Breville. So we have a large shredding blade, a small shredding blade. This is 2 millimeters versus 4. And we have a 4 millimeter blade, slicing blade. And we have a 2 millimeter slicing blade. And we also have this little scraper paddle. So, my feeling about the overall look and feel. Let's turn this baby on real quick.
Can I cut to the chase? A++++.
It's kind of a beast of a food processor. It's pretty quiet compared to the other ones that I've used. It's pretty substantial. The only thing, I compare this to the Breville because it's a large food processor, it's beefy, and it's got a lot of oomph to it, right? The only issue I have is maybe I would say on the Breville, the plastic is a little bit better, I would say.
What, easier to slide and get into place, or not really?
I don't know. I kind of feel like the plastic is slightly better. And that's just like a personal issue to me.
But then you also have more information too. The replacement parts on this are a little more expensive than Breville.
The replacement parts are expensive. The bowl is like 70 versus the Breville is 40. So it's like all the replacement parts on this are twice as expensive as the Breville. And I think the Breville and the KitchenAid both are easier to get. Cuisinart too. They're a lot easier to get the blades for that. I would say this compares to our higher end food processors. We're talking about the Breville Sous Chef. We're talking about the KitchenAid Pro line or the larger end regular KitchenAids. We're talking about the Cuisinart Elite and the 14 cup. Yeah, so I'm putting it in that class, and it is beefy to me. But I think also maybe the Breville, it has a little bit one up on it in that the blades are adjustable, and I think the plastic slightly, I don't know. I just think the plastic is a little more sturdy than this, but this is nice. Don't get me wrong.
Now, was this also dishwasher safe, but you can't use heat?
I wouldn't put them in the dishwasher because you're going to kill it eventually. So, yeah, I would just stay away from the dishwasher on all food processors. Technically, they're dishwasher safe, but, yeah, no. I think the box for the Breville is a little bit nicer than this one. So, and maybe even the KitchenAid. Yeah, so I give it an A. Okay, first up, we are going to chop some parsley in the mini bowl. So I have the mini bowl on here with the mini blade, and we're gonna go ahead. Boo is very nice as to wash our parsley up. And I have a lot, so I'll probably do that amount. Washed our parsley up for us.
So we don't feed it through the tube, we just put it in there?
Yeah, you just put it in there. Now, on the prior test, I got some comments that people said, oh, you pulsed this one 3 times and this one 4 times and this one whatever. That's because I'm not really necessarily concerned between 3 and 6 or 8 pulses because that's not what takes any time. What I do is I use my judgment as a cook to determine when it's adequately chopped. And I determine that based on the evenness. So if I see lots of chunks in there and a lot of stuff being over chopped, I have to stop my processing because I will over process the small pieces to get those large pieces done. And I don't want to turn it into parsley soup. So I pulse it based on my feeling of how it appears in the food processor, not, 3 pulses or 4 pulses or whatever. I could care less about that, right? I'm looking for a result. So let's do this. Pulse, pulse, pulse. Woo, lights. Pulse. So I'm looking at that and I'm seeing that we might be there. So I see a couple things. I think I want to pulse it. Okay. Smells good. So this is our result here. And I mostly see that it's well chopped. I do see a couple big pieces, and I think if I take it any farther, it's going to be over processed. So, what do I see here? I think if I kept going, it would be over processed. It looks kind of nice. I have some little stems that didn't get totally processed, but I probably didn't pick through the parsley that great. I think it did a really nice job. What do you guys think?
I think if you're using it as a garnish or something, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking I'm going to give it an A-. Okay, next we're going to be using the chopping blade. This is the large chopping blade. We're going to be chopping up some onions. So I have 2 kind of small to medium onions. They didn't have any really big ones when I went to the store, so.
Is there a reason why you're doing that as opposed to feeding them through the tube where they come down and hit it, or is that only
doesn't matter?
Is that only for shredders which are at the top and
yes.
stuff? Oh, okay.
I mean, you can feed it through if you want to, but I want them all in there even to start it.
Okay.
So, pulse, pulse, pulse.
Ooh.
Okay. Oh, we're looking kind of good here. That's our result. Woo!
Kind of smells like onions in there.
Okay. So what do we got here?
Smells like onion rama.
Definitely onion ramen. Looks pretty nice. I have a couple large pieces here, but I can take that down to maybe 6 large pieces. Otherwise, it's fairly decent for a food processor. I have that much that's big, and the rest of this is pretty good. What would you say on that, Boo?
Yeah, you have a lot of medium pieces. You have a lot of small pieces. Nothing has been killed, though.
Nothing's killed. I give it an A-. Okay, so we're going to slice up 2 maters here. And I have the 4mm slicing blade on here. And it's time to show these mater who's boss, huh? I'm going to put the mater in here. Ah!
Does it fit the tube?
Doesn't completely fit in here. This way. There you go. Okay. Mater, your history.
You just had a chance.
Mater number 2, your history too. Yeah! Mater Nation. So that was a 4mm. And it's pretty thin.
But those guys were like reasonably firm.
Yeah,
Now they look all beat up.
They're reasonably firm tomatoes.
What do you think about those results, Bill? It's not the best.
They're pretty thin, and this is the thickest blade. Since it's not adjustable, you can't control this. You got to go out and buy all these blades, and the blades for this is a little more expensive.
So you need at least a 6mm.
Yeah. I'm going to tell you, I got way better results from the Breville.
A knife would do a better job.
Yeah. I'm giving it. I mean, they are slices.
Yeah,
it's a little thin.
But if you're going to make a sandwich out of this, do you really want to look at those?
Yeah.
Do you think Subway would use those in a commercial?
They're not mangled.
They look a little
but they're not mangled.
So you want to give it like a B then, or a C+?
B-. Okay, next up, potato. I think I want to go. No, that ain't gonna work. If I put potato here, if I do it this way, it's gonna be like planks. You want to do planks?
It doesn't matter. They all fry up the same, don't they?
Or I could do a double shot like this.
Okay, it's got plenty of horsepower. Let's do it.
Okay.
Ooh, got something.
Well, there's an interlock there, and I had to get it below that. Well, with that in there like that, it wasn't going below the interlock, so there you go. I think all these do that, though. So I'm just going to cut these potatoes in half.
All that manual labor.
I know. Ooh. Ripping. Tater. Tater. 2 taters. Yeehaw. 2 taters. Give me some taters. Okay. So we don't have a lot of stuff left over on the top. Looks like everything is cut really nicely. Did a great job on the potatoes. I don't see any that are mangled. Nothing like that. So to me, it gets an A.
Ooh. Oh, and for the record, potatoes are heavily weighted in this competition compared to tomatoes, which we normally use a knife anyways.
So we have the 4mm shredder on here, and for our last test, we're going to shred some cheese. I have a 1-pound block of cheddar here. We're gonna put it here, and that ain't gonna work, right? Because it won't go over the interlock. So let me cut this down here.
You can always let me inspect it. Issues.
Ah! The rat ate the cheese. Okay, let's go. Whoa! That was pretty fast. Let's put the rat's piece of cheese in here. Because Eric's going to be eating that cheese. So, I don't see anything up here. I did go up and down with it a little bit. Well, except that, right? The rat will come eat that cheese.
I see no evidence. You got a couple of chunks right there.
Yeah, I see a couple little chunks in there. And I think that's when I bounced it down. They fell down there, so I think this is what would be sitting on top of the blade. Mm-hmm. So we don't have a lot of mangling.
No, and you just have a little compression pieces right here.
Yeah, we just have barely a little bit right here, but Yeah, this is pretty nice.
I don't see any of this.
I don't really see much mangling at all on that cheese. That did an amazing job. I think that rivals pretty much everything we've seen within a food processor. I don't think you can ask too much better than that. So,
the only comment I have is, historically, some food processors have troubles with soft cheese, and you had to get a special blade for that and everything. I won't mention names. But for the most part, cheese can present a challenge.
yeah.
We did pull this out of the refrigerator, so this was really cold. This was not room temperature. Now, had this been a softer cheese, who knows what would have happened. But
I think it's nice. I give it an A.
yeah, me too. Tastes good.
So our final analysis on the Magimix 14-cup food processor. So the overall look and feel, I think it is a beast of a machine. It has a beefy DC motor on it, 900 watts, over 900 watts. The only thing that I had a little bit of issue on is they don't have an adjustable slicing blade, and the plastic was just slightly under the Breville, though it is very nice, I will say that. So Eric's been doing the cleaning on all these between each one of our tests, and he says the cleaning ability is great. There's never been anything sticking in little spots. It rinsed up, perfectly. So the cleaning is fantastic on that. So I believe I gave it an A on the overall look and feel. So for chopping the onions, I gave it an A- just because it was slightly uneven. I don't expect a food processor to chop like you do by hand. So I'm really not looking for that. But there is some big and some small. Wasn't horrible. So I gave it an A-. Parsley, same thing. I believe I gave it an A-. It did a great job. I think there was a couple pieces that were big. I ran it. I think I had to pulse it like 8 or 9 times. And I didn't want to keep going with it because I didn't want to mangle it. So I gave it an A- just for that. Tomatoes was my issue area. This did not perform as well as the Breville. I think looking at this beautiful cheese and looking at these beautiful potatoes, if it would have done better on those tomatoes, we would be talking about a tie to me with the Breville. But I think the Breville did a better job with the tomatoes. I mean, it just flat out did. Tomatoes are nice, but they're a little bit mangled, and I've never had that with the Breville. So I think this puts the Magimix, to me, number 2 on my list. The Breville's number 1. The Magimix is number 2, along with the Cuisinart 14-cup, the classic Cuisinart 14-cup. And then, from there, we have our other various KitchenAids and other Cuisinarts. But yeah, I give this high marks. Is it a buy? I would say it is a buy. It's an expensive food processor. I got it at a big discount, but if you were to go to a retailer who sells these, this could be in the $350, $450 price range, which puts it in the price range along with the Breville. And I think between the two, it's just a matter of preference. To me, the Breville slightly ekes out because the tomatoes were spot on with the Breville, and I like the case better. I like the adjustable blade better. But, other than that, it's a great food processor. Yeah, so the more money the food processor is, the more you start getting into a lot of other things coming standard. I believe the 16-cup on the Magimix comes with the juicer. But you just start getting more blades. On the Breville, you get the julienne blade with it. You get the adjustable blade with it. I think you just get a little more with it. And I think the price of reordering parts is cheaper, and they're probably a lot easier to get. So I just edged a Breville above this one, but this is a solid machine. I'm really glad that we have it in the Amy Learns to Cook kitchen. And look at this cheese. I mean, that's fantastic. You can't go wrong with that. So, yeah. So the Magimix Food Processor gets the Amy Learns to Cook thumbs way up. It's a great, powerful, performing machine that did an awesome job on all our tests. And I'm really confident that it's a great machine. If you like this video, please subscribe below, leave me a comment and a like, and don't forget to hit that bell for notifications of our uploads. You can catch me on social media at facebook.com/groups/Amy Learns to Cook. You can catch me on Twitter and Pinterest at Amy Learns to Cook, and also on Instagram at Cookin' with Amy. Now let's cook these taters. Oh, the rat's back for the cheese.
Ain't no sawdust separating these little guys. Yum, yum.